and we've heard this forever, right? Iran has been 2 weeks away from having nuclear weapons since I was 5. We've heard this from every president, Israeli prime ministers, generals. It's just never been the case, and yet we keep saying it. And now we're saying it in places where it's just ludicrous. It's just ludicrous, right? And they can't even seem to get the messaging straight on this one because we have guys like Ted Cruz coming out and saying things like this.
Is they were building nuclear weapons a year ago and our bombing took that out. They also had an ongoing desire to rebuild them. I don't have present day intelligence on what progress they had made towards rebuilding nuclear weapons since we bombed their facilities. I have no indication that they were anywhere close to getting nuclear weapons because our bombing was devastating.
So Steve Woodcock says we got to go to war with Iran because they're a few weeks away from having a bomb. And then Ted Cruz comes out and says, actually, we have no evidence that they're anywhere close. We really have no intelligence on where they're at since we bombed them. Okay. So I pointed out the problem with this, that we're getting inconsistent stories. And Ted Cruz jumped on Twitter and, like, in all caps was screaming at me. I think he did it in all caps, but he's screaming at me, oh, well, let me break this down into smaller words. I said we blew up all their stuff and they can't make nukes now. It's like, yes, that's what I said. That's what I said you said. Why are you yelling at me for agreeing with what I said that you said? But he didn't address the fact that that is itself a contradiction. Either they're 2 weeks away and we know that and we have to go to war with them, or they don't have the capacity. And you're saying not only do they not have capacity, you don't even see intelligence of where they're at, but they're an imminent threat. They're an imminent threat even though you don't know where they're at. Now, again, I will remind you, Iran is full of really, really bad people. I don't mean every person in Iran. I mean the guard and everything involved. And so, I have no love lost for these people. And I'm certainly, these people have sponsored terrorism. Like, I'm not going to pretend they are just no threat at all to any American. I don't think that's true. Again, many of the people in the Middle East are, not that broken up ultimately that Iran might get punched in the teeth because they don't like Iran either. Like, they're not even popular in the Middle East. So again, this is not like me saying, oh, well, these poor harmless Iranians just want to live in peace and there's nothing wrong with, no, I do not want these people to have a bomb. But what we're saying here is they don't have a bomb. They're not even close to having a bomb. We haven't seen anything indicating that they are close to having a bomb. In fact, we don't even have intelligence that really tells us if they've done much getting back to building a bomb anyway. But they are an imminent threat. And this also creates the other problem. I'm being told simultaneously that Iran is a pushover, will be done in a few weeks. Stop panicking. Trust the plan. Like, we'll be in and out of there really quickly. It'll be easy. But also, Iran is an imminent threat that had to be dealt with. They're a danger to everyone. They're a direct threat to the United States. One of those things cannot be, or both of those things cannot be true. One of those things has to be false. They cannot be incredibly dangerous, and we have to worry about them, just destroying America. But also, we can, bomb them over a weekend and call it a day. This is just not going to be, one of those things can't be correct. Either they aren't that big of a threat, and we can take them out easily, or they are a huge threat, and it's going to cost us something. And this is my concern. The messaging here is sloppy and dangerous because you haven't justified this to the American people. When we went into Iraq the first time, at least we talked about the weapons of mass destruction. At least all of the evidence was being presented. It turned out to be a lie, but at least they went through the process of lying to us about weapons of mass destruction. This time, we're not getting any of that. The United States has not been attacked in a 9/11 style attack. The United States is not facing a direct threat from mass casualties. the United States is just not in the same position, and it has not been afforded the same explanation as to why we would need to go fight this battle. So that means that these strikes are going to be unpopular. And again, I warned people about this. And we're already seeing that even among Republicans, the numbers are very bad. Now you could say, okay, well, polls, yeah, they're not accurate. Fair enough. I've argued against the accuracy of poll numbers plenty. But even without the poll numbers, my intuition would simply be this is the case. The poll numbers do reflect that. If you want to throw them out, that's fine. But if you really think that this is a super popular move, you need to get outside of your Twitter bubble. You need to talk to somebody outside of your incredibly like Fox News sphere, because I don't even think in the Fox News audience this is probably as popular as they want it to be. So I also have additional problems here, which is the timing. I don't know if you remember this, but last year, when we did our bombing, it was made very clear to us that initially the United States did not intend to be involved in the bombing of Iran. And then Israel went ahead and started its strikes anyway. And they said, well, we just need the American plane to come in and bomb. We just need the bomber to come in and drop the big bomb, and that's it, and we'll be done. And so America, even though they didn't want to be involved, kind of got coerced into it. But you still couldn't get the different ceasefires. I remember Donald Trump getting on social media and begging Bibi Netanyahu to like stop bombing people, right? Like it becomes clear at some point that we kind of don't have a handle on our greatest ally, that our greatest ally can kind of go rogue and do things that we don't really want them to do. Well, now we got reporting out of, I believe is the Washington Post, again, mainstream media. Maybe they're wrong. I don't know. Haven't seen the administration push back against it, but maybe they will. Saying that Marco Rubio delivered intel to different members. They call them the Gang of Eight, key people in the House and Senate, whatnot, and told them that basically Israel was planning to go strike anyway. And so our options were go strike with them now or basically be pulled into war when Iran inevitably retaliates back against Israel's strikes after, or rather Iran, it retaliates in response to Israel's strikes to targets that will be tied to American security. So like one way or another, we're more or less getting bullied into pulling this trigger. I've heard similar stories, of Trump's reluctant assent to this plan from different angles. Some of them mainstream, some of them more behind closed doors. I can't tell you the truth of any of these things. I am saying that there is a disturbing pattern that seems to be emerging here, where American foreign policy seems to be dictated more or less on the timeline of an inconsistent ally when they feel like it. Oh, I guess we don't have any other choice. I guess we got to go do this now. I don't know, man. Aren't we like the global hegemon? Why? Like, why would we alter our plans one bit for people? Like, why don't we set the agenda? Why don't we set the stage? Why don't we make these decisions ourselves? Hey guys, if you've been watching this show for a while, then you know that around here we encourage something that conservatives usually don't do. Winning. If you like what I'm doing here and you want to keep it going, then head over to Blaze TV. They have the behind-the-scenes content, exclusives, and documentaries that you're just not going to see anywhere else. So go to blazetv.com/Auron and subscribe today. The promo code is AURON and you'll save $20 right now off the annual plan.